Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Nerd It This Way. I'm Mahalia, and today I am trying to whip out all of my book reviews for the month of June so I can do my TBR for July tomorrow, because that would be great because June is over and it's a new month. More summer, yay. So today I will have the book right here. And the book I will be reviewing is The Motion of Puppets by Keith Donahue. I packed the book, so it's going to be like right here in this area. So yeah, let's get started. This book I reviewed and I went into the book thinking like, oh, relationship goals. This book is going to be the bomb. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Holy reality check, because it starts off with this couple, this married couple, the age gap love. He's older than her. He's a professor. She is a gymnast who joins the circus in Canada for summer fun, just to do something different. So they have like a little flat in Montreal, I think. Maybe, might be wrong. But every day they walk past after her circus practice and performances, they walk by this puppet shop that's never open. Never open. And so after this performance, she's like, I'm gonna go out with the girls and the people I work with for drinks. And her husband's like, okay, cool. Like, go you, do that. You know, I got to translate this story because he speaks French. So he translates stories from French to English and, you know, vice versa. And so Kay, our character, I looked back because I thought I had the book. I think her husband's name is Walter, but I don't know. So I'm going to say the husband because, again, I packed it. Yeah. And I'm going to have the real name up here if I'm wrong. If I'm not wrong, I'll still put the name right here. So Kay goes out to have drinks, and the ringmaster guy is like hitting on her, and she's like, back up, old man, I don't want any of that you have. And he's like, okay, whatever. He's like, let me walk you home, it's dark. She's like, back up, old man, I'm an independent woman, bye. And he's like, whatever. And then he's like, well, no, let me walk her home, let me make sure she gets home. So he starts following her like a creeper. Yeah, like a creeper. Not with her, like this. Like she's walking and he's walking, and then she'll look back and he'll hide. Like, the fuck? It's creepy. And so while she's walking home, this is her walking home. While she's walking home, the puppet store is open. And so she looks in and she is just transfixed on this Indian puppet that's always in the window. And she's just like in love with this puppet. So she goes to the door and the door's open, and she goes inside and she's like, oh my gosh, it's open. And so she like looks around, she goes further into this store that's never open, that just so happened to be open, because the hell is common sense. We don't, fuck it, let's just go in. We do things like that here. And as she's like going further and further into the store, she starts transforming into a puppet. Yes. And so the owners of the shop find a new puppet. They're like, oh, we have another one. And so, you know, they change her clothes, they put cotton or, you know, whatever stuffing in her, and they get rid of all her other shit, like her shoes, her outfit, her purse, everything. She just disappears, right? Her husband is like, why isn't she home? Like, what's going on? And so he goes to her job at the circus and is like, where's my wife? And he meets Igor, which is this funny little man, little French Canadian man who is like, I don't know, maybe she slept with the ringmaster. I don't know, it happens. And he's like, she wouldn't do that. And he's like, okay, well, I guess it doesn't happen. My bad. And as he's searching for her, he goes to the police, and the police was like, the husband did it. And he's like, no, I didn't do it. And he just starts like freaking out, like someone has taken my wife. And then the police are like, well, sir, a body was found. And he just loses his shit. Just, ah, my wife. And then they're like, we need you to identify the body. And he's like, okay. And then he looks and he's like, that's not her. And then, like, you know, walks away. Meanwhile, Kay wakes up in this back room with all these other puppets who've been kidnapped throughout the years and time periods and everything. And is like, where am I? No. She doesn't really like, oh God, I gotta get home. No. She's like, hey, hi, I'm Kay. Hi, who are you? Hi, who are you? This is a little freaky, but what's going on? And they're like, this is the back room. You don't want to go to the front room because that's where the audience is, and you need to stay back here unless you're picked. And then that's amazing for you in your career. And she meets all these different puppets. There are these two judges. There's these sisters that are like Russian fairy tale sisters. There's this really, really, really crazy broad that's like, you got to get out of here. And she's posed as this kid with this older lady that's called the Hag. And there's a clown that's always jiggling stuff. And then there's this like older gentleman, bigger guy, who's like the timekeeper, and the queen. And so the queen is like on her cereal box, like, oh, we have a new one. And she's like, these are the rules. If you find your place, you find your place. Good for you. And she's like, okay. Like, she's just adapts. Like, okay, I'm never going home again. Oh, okay. And the crazy chick is like, are you okay with that? Never going home again? Like, I gotta get out of here. I don't know how long it's been, you know, what the world is like. Where are we? And Kay's like, oh, okay, I can help you. I can help you. Not help us. Help you get out. And so the girl's like making what looks like a shank, but it's a pencil. And I'm like, oh, okay, so she's not gonna stab anybody. And they write help me on it, and they try and like get it under the back door to the alley or street that's back there. And of course, their plan goes to shit. They get taken down, and then there's a trial. So the lawyer that is defending Kay and the crazy chick is the devil. Yeah, he's the devil. He's the puppet, the devil. And meanwhile, her husband is still looking for her. His mother-in-law, Kay's mother, is calling and calling and calling and calling. And he doesn't know what to do. Like, he has to go back to the States because they're only supposed to stay in Canada for that short amount of time and then go back to where they live together. And he is like slowly losing his grip. He's talking to an imaginary Kay. He's talking to himself. He's trying to piece together where she was, backtrack, figure out, you know, what happened. And then some people come to him like, well, maybe she just didn't want to be with your old ass anymore. And he's like, well, okay, well, no, we didn't argue. There was no issue. She wouldn't just leave me. That's not how she is. Meanwhile, so the puppet people, owners, are like, oh, this woman, like this puppet we just got, you know, people are looking for her. We gotta move. We have to leave. Winter's coming. Some of the dolls in the barn, and then some of the dolls in this other area. And then there's this weird worm-like creature puppet thing that they take and they reconstruct. So then they have this ritual where they reconstruct everybody, and then everybody is like human size and like walking around like big as hell, huge puppets now, and they're in a parade. in a parade with like the Indian guy who's called the Origin, which I don't know if he's still the bad guy or not. Don't know. Or if he's a victim. Don't know. But the queen is like, know your place. Don't talk to anyone but those in your circle, I guess. So in your tribe. And so they're on TV. And Kay's like, I could get used to this. I guess I am used to this. I guess I will never go home. It's fine. Exactly. She's just like, it's cool. Meh. I don't gotta pay bills. I kind of miss the circus. But, yeah. Crazy. Super crazy. And then to her husband, the mother-in-law's calling, mother-in-law's calling, mother-in-law's calling. He finally answers, and she's just crying. And then she's like, wait a minute. I see Kay on the TV. And he's like, you don't see Kay anywhere. You're tripping. I do the same thing. It's okay. She's like, no, I see her on the TV on this station. You need to look it up. You need to, it's Kay. I know, I'm her mother. Don't you, whatever, talk to me like I'm crazy, and hangs up. His friend Igor comes. And he's like, why didn't you tell me you're in the States? What are you doing here? Blah, 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 all this stuff. Like, really concerned for his friend being there randomly. And Igor's like, I have to tell you something about your wife. And he's like, what? And he pulls out these little blue shoes, and he's like, are these your wife's shoes? And he's like, dude, why are you carrying around women's shoes? That's weird. But kind of looking like my wife's little blue shoes that she wore the day she went missing. Interesting. Tell me, what happened, Igor? Igor breaks into the puppet shop that's no longer a puppet shop. It's just an empty shop. And you know, puts posters on the walls and get comfortable because he's going to be there a while, apparently. And he hears whispering. And so he's like, there's something in the attic. And the attic just so happened to be in his room. And the man is like, maybe like 4, I do this like as if I'm really tall, like 4'8", I guess. And so he's like climbing all on top of these books and chairs and all types of stuff to get to the attic. And he climbs up and he just sees all these marionettes and puppets and parts and feet and clothes and all this stuff. And he hears whispering all around him. So he's like looking, he's like, where the fuck am I tripping? I need to stop drinking. And so he goes back to the States to get his friend, to bring him back to Canada, gets the investigator guy, tells him the story, and the investigator is like, you broke into a building. And he's like, that's not, I didn't come here to tell him myself. I came here to report magic and voodoo and stuff. And the investigator and his sidekick, his partner, not sidekick, his partner is like, you're lying. You're lying. His partner is new. And he's like, you're a liar. I'm gonna arrest you for all this stuff. And he's like, this is why you don't go to the police. Okay, let's talk outside. And he's like, it's interesting, you know, you say this because, you know, I know that puppet shop. Like, everybody loves it. It's been around for years. When I was a kid, it was around. And they're like, oh, okay, so the owners are older then. Okay, the cop starts telling a story about his younger brother that used to love to go in the shop, and he's in love with this Indian puppet. Kate is also in love with this Indian puppet. And so they're like, oh shit, let's put 2 and 2 together and let's go look in this attic. So they climb up the attic and there's nothing there. So Igor looks like a liar and an alcoholic and just an awful friend. And he's like, no, I'm telling you the truth. I had a shoe, right? And so the husband, I'm trying to remember his name, is like, okay, my mother-in-law says she was in a parade. Let's see. And so, you know, people were on their phones filming, and he sees this huge mannequin parade thing of his wife, and he freezes the thing. And he's like, oh, well, maybe she posed and they copied her facial features and stuff. And the inspector's like, yeah, that's really good if they did that. So we should ask them where your wife is. But you have to wait because I have to do paperwork. We have to do this the right way. And Igor's like, we don't got time to wait for him. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go find someone to help us and let's go. And so they recruit this other professor that worked at the college that felt bad for Kate's husband. And he's like, I'll help you. Meanwhile, Kay is now trying to escape because her crazy friend has bees in her head, legit, and is slowly losing her mind. She's pulling out all her hair and just going crazy in this barn. So she wants to help her friend, right? Like, not necessarily herself. No care for herself. And then she wants to meet that Indian puppet. Like, she's like, I want to meet him. And the queen is like, no, you will not. I'm going to be like your mom and tell you, no, stay away from him. He's bad. You have to stay away from him. Respect him, but stay away. And she's like, you're not my mom. Suck it, right? And so Igor, Kay's husband, and this other professor find this farm. How do they find the farm? They go to the town that the parade was in and starts asking questions, like inspectors and stuff. And so there's something down there making noise, and it's scary. And the queen's like, oh, it's just the worm. And everybody's like, worm, worm. The worm that Kay first met that was like a mess. It looked like a sock puppet, the way they described it. And now they transformed it into this Chinese dragon thing, and it's untamable now that it has an attitude in this bigger body. So it thinks it's a thug and don't have to follow the puppet rules. So it's been kicked off the barn island and is punished under the barn. It's like stuck under the barn because it's that big. So Kay is like, I'm gonna get you out here, my friend, the crazy girl. And they're plotting. And so everyone knows they're plotting something. It's like, obvious. And the devil offers to go investigate the other puppets, and then he disappears for like days. And so Kay and Crazy are like, we need to find him because he got out. We have to get out. We have to get away. And so they sneak away and they find the devil because he's just walking in the dark. He's like, oh, there's a party going on and you should come. I'm coming to invite all my friends. And so he goes back into the barn like it's a school reunion, and the queen is like, the hell have you been, you trading ass hoe? And he's like, she's a liar. There's a party and the original wants to meet all of you, and he's really nice, and his friends, he has this whole entourage. It's great, it's great, it's great. And Kay's like, oh, the original, I want to meet him. And the devil's like, he wants to meet you too. That's kind of weird, huh? Yeah. Let's do this. Let's go party. So they go party. Kay has forgotten about this girl escaping and her escaping completely, or the fact that she's married. She remembers vaguely, but it's not like a real thing. And so they go to this party. She meets the original, and she like falls for him even more. And the girl is like, don't lose yourself. Like, Crazy seems to be her conscience. Like, you have a family at home, maybe. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And so while they're partying in this other place, her husband and Igor break into the barn in different areas. Igor dies. He gets eaten by the dragon because he's nosing. He climbs in its mouth because the dragon stays very still. And instead of just climbing in and then going up to, open the door or something that he was supposed to do, he starts looking around for stuff to steal. And then, so they tell him, like, yeah, you can save your wife. All you have to do is make her follow you, and neither one of you looks back. He's like, oh, easy. I'm going to go get her. And they're like, well, no, you have to look like a puppet to go to the puppet party. There's a dress requirement. Goes to Kay. She's like, oh my God, my husband's here. And she's like, oh, but before you save me, we have to save my friend too. And he's like, okay, whatever, just come on, just come on. And he's looking for Igor. Igor's gone. He doesn't know that. And so he's like, there's a rope hanging. We're gonna climb the rope and we're gonna run. And Kay's like, my friend needs to go first, then you, then me. And he's like, okay, okay. So the friend like climbs that thing super fast. He's climbing and he notices she's not climbing. She's not climbing the rope. So the friend gets up over the little bar thing or whatever and runs. Never looks back. Never looks back. The rope gets cut. The husband falls to the ground and like faces the original and transforms into a puppet. And Kay is nowhere to be found. Nothing's happening. Her husband gets torn apart by these other Amazon puppets, and they take him into different areas of the forest behind the barn and leave him there. So he's an immortal puppet that's been ripped apart for this woman that he thought he loved, but she did not have the same relationship goals as him. And he sings in the forest as the wind carries it to the barn, and she like leans in this hole to hear him sing for her because she's like that arrogant, because she gets the original and her husband somehow. Okay, here's the thing. Now that I've done all this huge review, which was really, really long, I'm sorry for that. Who is the bad guy? Is it the original? Is it the queen? Is it the people? Do the people work for the original? How's like everything working? I'm confused. It was good. I was on the edge of my seat reading, but I was like, Kay doesn't love him. Like, I was so confused. So confused. So tell me what you thought of the book, because I wouldn't read it again ever, but it was a good read. Like, I'm gonna look into more books that he's written, Keith Donahue, and yeah, hopefully you guys all enjoyed my video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, press the bell to get more notifications or any notifications of new videos and content I put up. My social media links will be in the description below. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. All us nerds need to stay together and be friends, because why not? I mean, you know, why not? Why not? Yeah. See ya.